Boom. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Thursday to you, and welcome to another live beer review. So today we're going to be taking a look at another stout from Listermann Brewing Company over in Cincinnati, Ohio. And to be completely honest here, some of the stouts that I've had from Listermann have been kind of hit or miss with me. Some of them I've enjoyed, some of them not so much. So I'm really curious to see what this one does with it, because I thought is right off the bat when I bought this beer, it was one of the most unique labels I've ever seen on a beer. Definitely something that's the most clever as well, so we're going to get to that pretty soon. But today we got one here called I Hated Listermann Before It Was Cool. It's a pastry stout coming in at a 14%, and it's well, they consider it a cake stout. It's a cake stout with devil's food cake, vanilla, and chocolate. So with it being a 14%, expecting a good amount of booziness to this, and of course hoping there's going to be a good amount of chocolate cakiness. Hopefully there's a nice sweetness that balances everything out. Maybe kind of cuts down the booziness a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. I'm pretty damn excited. Hopefully that this one kind of brings a little bit higher expectations of some of the other stouts I've had from Listermann. But I'm willing to give this one a try and maybe give it its fair shake. But other than that, yeah, I think it's time for us to crack this guy open and see what this thing's like on the nose, because I'm curious. So, but before we do that, always whenever I'm cracking open a bottle, always got to use my little cock and balls bottle opener that Mr. Lee, not the real Gerard Butler, sent me all the way from when he was in Greece. So let's crack this guy open and see what this thing's like on the nose. Put the cap down there, and let's see what this guy smells like. Oh yeah, definitely getting chocolate, a little bit of booziness. Not really getting much of a cakey note coming through. But yeah, it smells absolutely delicious. So, gonna be drinking this out of my Russian River tulip glass this afternoon. Let's see how this guy pours. Oh yeah, definitely heavy. Not much of a head, to be honest. But yeah, that is pouring dark. And oh, there's some stuff coming out at the end. Maybe a little bit of chocolate or some thick, heavier stuff pouring at the end. Who knows? But yeah, looks absolutely delicious. Was able to pour the entire bottle into this tulip glass, and look at that. Looks dark and looks just, I don't want to say it looks like motor oil because it's looks a little bit thinner than some of like the stouts that I've seen before. But yeah, definitely getting notes of chocolate coming through predominantly. Not really getting much of a cakey note. Maybe vanilla's kind of mixing with there to kind of get to the point where it's like almost like maybe a milk chocolate, maybe a semi-sweet chocolate. I'm not sure, but yeah, it smells delicious, to be honest. So without further ado, let's give this guy a try and see what this thing's all about. So cheers, everybody. Happy Thursday. Yeah, that's nice. Nice. It's not too overpowering. It's not too like forward on any kind of component. It's actually really, really balanced. There's a nice sweetness up front that kind of turns into like maybe like a drier kind of note, which sometimes you get with like Russian Imperial Stouts. But overall, the sweetness up front is still very nice. It's not too sweet. Getting a lot of chocolate, not really getting much of a cakey kind of element to it. Definitely has a nice booziness that kind of lingers on a little bit. But overall, yeah, it's not bad at all. Definitely not bad. I would say this is probably up there with one of the better stouts that I've had from Listermann. Some of them have been kind of like just meh to me. But this one is definitely one of the better ones that I've tried from Listermann when it comes to their stouts and all their heavier beers. So, yeah, it's pretty damn solid so far. So let's look here over on Untapped. And, of course, we always like to look over there to see what similar beers that they show here and possibly what we can get to be similar from them. Of course, there's let's see. There's two of them from Willow Park Brewing. Let's see, one called Lords of Chaos, the other one called Souls of the Dead MCs. Then we got one here from Mortellus Brewing Company, which I've reviewed some of their stuff before, and I don't think I've ever had one of their stouts, but so this one is called Uncle Joe's Barrel Aged, I don't know how to say that, Cuvee? I don't know, it's a double pastry stout, 13%, and it's a barbecue, let's see, barbecue master, brewer, baker, this guy, everything to do, let's see. Coconut, vanilla, and marshmallow and coffee. Yeah, you might get similar notes to that when it comes to this one. I think, yeah, right off the bat, I think this is going to be the one that's going to be most similar. Of course, with this, you're definitely going to want to kind of go to more of that barrel-aged style. I mean, you're not going to get the kind of booziness that a barrel-aged beer brings off. It doesn't say if this beer is barrel-aged at all. I don't think it is. But this Uncle Joe's barrel-aged one from Mortellus, I think is going to give you some similar notes. You're going to get chocolatey notes. You might get some like the bitter notes when it comes to similar bitterness that this comes up with at the end. Maybe from the hopping and all that stuff like that. But overall, yeah, out of all these ones that I've seen before show up on the similar beers list for a lot of beers, this Uncle Joe's is definitely one that stands out to me. So I'm going to go with this Uncle Joe's barrel-aged Cuvee to be the most similar beer to this one. You might be able to find this if you know anywhere that has Mortellus. You may be able to get your hands on this one. I don't know if maybe this is something that released a while ago, and I'm not sure. But this is going to be what I'm going to choose for similar. But let's see what else we got here. Back to Untapped. Let's see what it shows here for a description. It just says cake stout with devil's food cake, vanilla, and chocolate. And the release date they did for this one when it was in 2021 was 7/9/2021. So this has definitely been sitting down for a little bit. So letting those kind of flavors kind of mingle a little bit more. I think that's why there's a good amount of flavor coming through on this one. The flavor is pretty damn solid. I just kind of wish there was maybe more of like a cakey kind of element to it. Maybe like I don't know if there's frosting on devil's food cake. I don't remember. But yeah, there's not really much cake element to it for me. But the chocolate notes, having that kind of almost semi-sweet chocolate flavor, is coming through really, really nice. You're definitely getting that sweetness from the vanilla in there. So overall, yeah, to me it just tastes like a chocolate stout. I'm going to be completely honest, but it's still delicious. So let's look here, and like I said before, that's 14%, and with over 632 ratings, this one has an average of 4.01 out of 5, which, yeah, that's pretty good. Getting an average rating above a 4, just barely, is showing that people enjoy this one. So let's look here on my friends list and see if I know anybody who checked this one in. And of course, there's only one, and it was my father. He checked this one in back in November, and he gave it a solid 4 out of 5, which, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to give it that high, to be honest. It's still delicious, but I kind of wish there was a little bit more of those different elements that when they say there's devil's food cake in there, I would like to taste that kind of cakey element to it, or maybe have a little extra depth of flavor when it comes to adding that cake in there. But to me, it just tastes like kind of like a semi-sweet chocolate stout that's a little bit more boozy and has that kind of dry, maybe hoppy kind of finish. But overall, it's still really good. So let's look back here on the global ratings and see what people had to say about this guy. So what do we got here? We got a 4.25. Let's see. We got a was that? Yep, another 4.25. We got a 4. Let's see. This guy gave it a 2, saying it was meh, no cake flavor, just all coffee and overdose of sugar. Kind of disappointed in this one. The label is funny though. Yeah, we'll get to the label in a little bit, but I definitely agree when there's not really much cake flavor. I'm not really getting much of a coffee note, even though you may put in that kind of chocolate and bitterness to be similar coffee notes. And I wouldn't say it's too sweet at all either, but there's definitely some that I agree with on this one. Let's see what else here. This guy gave it a 3.25, saying possibly past prime, too much roast on the nose, mild metallic nose, body feels thin. Yeah, the body's definitely a little bit thinner on this one. I don't get really much metallic on the nose. It's not really any kind of metallic-y on the flavor either. But with this one, I don't think it's past its prime, because with stouts, you're usually able to cellar this kind of stuff and let those flavors intermingle some more. So I don't think it was past its prime. I definitely agree with the thin body that this guy said, though. It's definitely one of the thinner, kind of like boozier stouts that I've had. It's not in a bad way at all. But let's see what else we got here. We got another 4.25 here, purchased at Centerville Liquor and Wine, which is a place in Centerville, Ohio. What else? We got another 4.25. We got a 4, purchased off Tavor, which is how I got mine. We got a 3. And let's see. We got another 4 here. He purchased it from his Tavor package on 10/16, so that was probably October of last year. What else we got here? Let's do 2 more. We got another 4.25, and then we got a 4.5 here. So, yeah, some ratings are pretty damn good. Some of them are a little not so much. You saw maybe like 2 that were kind of in that lower 3, maybe almost like a 2.5 kind of rating, saying that there was a lot of stuff going wrong with it for them. But to me, there's not a lot going wrong with this one. Like I said, I really wish that kind of cake flavor would have came through a little bit more, because right now all I'm getting is semi-sweet chocolate and just like sweetness up front with the chocolate and the vanilla, and then kind of getting that like bitterness that maybe from like the semi-sweet chocolate notes, where there's a little bit of a drier bitterness, along with maybe the hops that they use in this one as well. But overall, it's still a really good beer. Just I think they missed their mark. I'm trying to recreate the profile that they were creating. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but let's see what else we got here. So with all that being said, let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings on our end over here. And I really want to show you guys this bottle art, because I think it's really clever, and that's what we do. First off with our ratings is either can art or bottle art. And this one is really, really clever, because it just shows a guy sitting at a computer. Looks like he's checking in on Untapped. I don't know if you can focus. He's like on an Untapped page and like putting his comment in on the computer, where it says his comment gave it was like a low rating, and he said the beer was too cold and don't like stouts. And he's checking it in. So, and then on the computer screen it says beer review site, all that kind of stuff, making it seem like it was Untapped and all that kind of stuff. And the guy has horns. So it's a really, really clever bottle art, and it's just I really, really enjoy this. So for bottle art for me, this is a solid 5 out of 5. This is, like I said, one of the most clever bottle arts that I've ever seen, especially with having the computer showing like their version of Untapped on there as he's checking it in, saying he doesn't like stouts, and maybe they're like making a dig on themselves, but I just think it's really, really funny. So yeah, bottle art's really nice. Of course, you get the token kind of Listermann things that they always have on their beers with their logo on the side and then kind of having a profile and the name of the beer right there. But yeah, like I said, 5 out of 5 for bottle art on this one. I really, really like it. And let's see. If I got this beer in a flight at Listermann Brewing Company, would I get another one? To be honest, I probably would. I enjoy this enough to where I would get another one if I got in a flight. Like I said, I'm not getting the flavors that the description of this beer gets fully. Like, I'm not getting really any of the cake. I get the vanilla, I get the chocolate, but that's it. So it just tastes like a chocolate stout to me. Not really much else going on when it comes to depth of flavor in this one. But overall, it's still delicious. So, with all that being said, I think my final rating on this guy, I'm going to give this a solid 7.25 out of 10. 7.25 I think is where I'm going to leave it. It's good. I definitely am going to enjoy drinking this one. But like I said, I really wish I got a little bit of that cake flavor in there. Maybe a little bit less of the dryness coming at the end. But overall, it's still a delicious beer. Absolutely delicious beer. So, what else we got here? I think let's start wrapping things up a little bit. Of course, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are amazing. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and like what you see, hit that subscribe button as well, along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live, do another review. But I got a bunch of reviews planned for the rest of this week, so keep an eye out for those. And if you possibly want to get your hands on anything from Listermann when it comes to some of their stouts, their IPAs, they have a whole variety of stuff available at the tap room right now. They have a bunch of different dark styles of beer when it comes to stouts, and then they have their IPAs, and they have some lighter stuff like Pilsners and all that kind of stuff available. So if you're in Cincinnati and want to try out a new brewery, yeah, head over to Listermann. I think it's a really cool place. Plus, their website is really, really nice as well. I'm a big fan of their website for a lot of reasons, just because they show their awards, you can get merch, tells you what events going on, but they also have something that's really, really cool, that they actually have a homebrew store located on facility, and they kind of, when you go onto the homebrew store section of their website, they actually have different parts where you can actually get recipes for stuff, which if you're a home brewer, finding a recipe and kind of looking at that and kind of changing it on your own, maybe adding different ingredients or different hops to kind of get a base of what kind of beer you want to do, and then kind of just build off that. I think that's a really cool thing that they do, using featured recipes of different stuff that you could try to make and all that stuff. So I think that's really, really cool. So big shout outs to Listermann for doing that. That's something that you don't see that often when it comes to supporting home brewers, because the home brewing community is definitely still very, very strong, especially since this past 2 years of quarantine and COVID and all that stuff. People have been taking advantage and brewing all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I just think that's a really cool thing that Listermann does, when it has a website part of their, a part of their website that actually accommodates home brewers. So that's just a really, really cool thing. So big ups to them. But other than that, last thing, if you want, like I said, if you want to get your hands on anything from Listermann, Tavour is always an option as well. They go up on there. I wouldn't say often, but I see them show up every once in a while. So if you want to get over to Tavour, you can go down a link to my description. Click it, lead you to their website, and then it'll lead you to the App Store if you're doing it on mobile. And then you can either download it on Android or iPhone, and you'll be directed right away if you want to create an account, all that kind of stuff. And Tavour usually ships to more suburban areas. When it comes to rural areas, their shipping is kind of off. So my biggest recommendation, if you want to get stuff from Tavour and possibly see stuff from Listermann show up in your area, that just download the app and put in your zip code when you're creating your account. They'll let you know right away if you can get stuff delivered to you from them. But other than that, if you want to possibly see stuff showing up in your local liquor store or bottle shop from Listermann, make sure to go over there, talk to the person that's buying the stuff, and just let them know that you want to see more stuff from Listermann. They'll talk to their distributor, and then maybe their distributor will try to figure out if they can get stuff in from them. And it's a really cool thing that I always recommend, is always getting in touch with and having a relationship with your local liquor store or bottle shop when it comes to craft beer, because you can get so many different things available to you, because distributors carry so much different styles of beer, so many different breweries. So it's having new stuff show up around the stocks of the liquor store is always a really good kind of thing, because it gives people new options to kind of buy some stuff. But other than that, last but not least, if you're a fan of social media and you kind of like how this beer bottle says, if you want to check in some beers, have your own version of Facebook for beer drinkers, biggest recommendation for you to do is to get yourself over to Untapped. It's a fantastic platform. You can use it on Android or iPhone, or you can even use it through the desktop as well. It's just, you check in beers, get badges, see what your friends are drinking, see what random people are drinking once in a while. But it's just really cool because you could see verified venues, like when it comes to different breweries near you. You can find verified like liquor stores or bottle shops that are partnering with Untapped. It's a really, really cool platform. Plus, you can go on their store. They have glassware, merch, all kinds of stuff. It's just a really, really fun website and a really cool thing that Untapped's been doing for countless of years now. I can always recommend good things from Untapped. But other than that, that is what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you, Brain Chat, for hanging out. You guys are awesome. And I'm going to end this like I always do before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see you all next time. Cheers.